Okay, welcome back to the top 50 tracks of all time. We're moving our way down now to number 42 and the first of this decade's tracks. I talked before in the introduction about longevity and how that could feature certain artists who I've been a big fan of over the years, and then tracks like the previous one, Procession by New Order, which jumped in now in the 50 but hasn't been in earlier. This is a case of this track actually came out last year, so it's, I don't know, it's either a year old or around a year old, which means this one will be up for debate, and also we'll see how, when I do my top 60 of all time, whether it still features there or whether it was a flash in the pan. So one of the newest tracks in the chart, if not the newest, and also I would definitely argue is the youngest artist in the top 50 as well. Could be a surprise for some, but not for those that have been following my music tastes over the last few years, or in fact were reading the Facebook posts I was putting up, the top 10, or not top 10, 10 albums that have influenced me for whatever reason. I haven't actually finished with that one, so maybe I should go back to that after I've done my chart. This is, of course, I don't need to put this one up, but I will do, new entry, because obviously it's only a year old, so it couldn't have featured in any chart before. This comes from an album that's fastly becoming my favourite of this artist, even though it was another album that sort of got me introduced to the artist, and introduced in a big way, in that I fell in love with the album quite early. A little bit of a, I don't know where this all started, because I think it was that Audrey, my daughter, got into 2 or 3 songs from that particular album, and then I started listening with her and realised it was pretty good. Then we started going back a bit, and there's a couple of songs off the album before that one, which I kind of warmed to. I thought the album was okay, but 2 or 3 songs really stood out. And then we started going even further back to my niece's time listening to this artist. Heather was a big fan before she got big, as it were. Well, she was pretty big, but in a different genre there. And I have to be honest and say I'm not a fan of all of those early albums. There's a little bit, far too much of a country reference in there, which makes perfect sense because she's very heavily influenced by country, even though she's a pop diva now. Country was the thing in the beginning, and I'm not a fan at all. But the last 2 albums have been cracking. I've missed a couple of albums there somewhere. There's been other albums that have been good as well, but these 2 albums, I'll go into them a little bit more detail when I don't like all this hiding the artist. I don't know why I'm doing it, to be honest. It kind of makes it hard to discuss. So we'll go in and kick in with Taylor Swift, the album Lover. Really, really good album. Lots of quality songs in there. The album I was talking about earlier was 1989, which is a classic album as well. Some really, really good tunes on there. Although I was shocked to find out that I'd bought Audrey the deluxe version or whatever. So when I kept going on about my favourite track off 1989 being New Romantics, people used to give me weird looks. And then I realised afterwards that it doesn't actually feature on the original album. It's on the deluxe version. So just to confuse there. The track I've chosen from Lover is The Archer, which is a sad love song. No shocks there. I just think it's a powerhouse of a tune. It's lyric wise it's great, and I think this is one of the things she's kind of underestimated there with or underappreciated in terms of lyrics. Although at the same time she isn't, because she's beaten awards that have been beaten records that have been set by Michael Jackson and the Beatles. So it's not like people aren't noticing her, but it becomes that thing of success doesn't always mean that people are going to like you. There's going to be a lot of people who don't like you because of the success. Like my issue with the Beatles, for example. People keep telling me all the records the Beatles set and all the things they've achieved, and I still say they weren't very good. So people can argue that for Taylor as well. But I'm a Taylor fan. But I'm a fan of Tay Tay. And this song is my absolute favourite from the album. It's got a lot of emotion in it, and it comes from the heart, but it's really well written and it's really well put together. The clip I decided to share is from, I think it was BBC Sounds. She did a live performance in studio. And it's really, really good. It's really good to watch, and it really gives you a sense of the power of the song. So sit back and enjoy Taylor Swift and The Archer.